Okay, people still joining. That's great. Okay, I actually really expect you to be active today because for me it's really important to see what you're interested in, what questions do you have. So I'll be really happy to answer on some questions or probably to hear your thoughts within the presentation. And then we will for sure have some time in the very end to talk about like common questions probably. So just to make sure you see my screen right now, right?
Yes, yes.
With the presentation. Okay, that's great. So let's start. I believe someone will join us a little bit later, but it won't be a big issue for them. So first of all, we will talk a little bit Salesforce, and we will discuss a key terms of Salesforce, which is essential to know to work with the Salesforce any cloud. We will discuss activities which are available mostly in all clouds, and then we would go through user story tips, and we will have some time for Q&A. Let me introduce myself. First of all, I have 3 Salesforce certifications. I'm certified Salesforce Business Analyst. Also, I have certifications in the Marketing Cloud. But in the same time, within this, I have 15 years experience in life science and healthcare companies. And also, I'm involved in the projects with the sales and service clouds, marketing clouds, CDP, and ODS. If you're interested, it's let's say second webinar. We have a previous webinar recording is available with a marketing cloud. So if you would be with any chance involved in a project with a marketing cloud, you can find out the presentation, recording of the presentation. Because within this presentation, I would highlight that a lot of clouds have a lot of in common in the Salesforce. They have like same basics, but not Marketing Cloud. It's staying a little, and part of this going a little bit separate. So they have different terms and a little bit different structure. So I believe we spent already 5 minutes for introduction and waiting for everyone. And let's start the presentation. So I don't think that I would be the first person who would say you that Salesforce is #1 CRM worldwide, that it's American cloud-based software company. But probably I would be the one first who would tell you that actually Salesforce is the world #1 CRM for healthcare and life science. They already have a healthcare cloud, and now they also announced life science clouds. What does it mean? Like, let's say Salesforce for healthcare, it's more to get to know the person behind the patient with a panoramic view of each customer connected through our healthcare community. And it can help like team users to accelerate acquisition, enrollment, service, and innovation. So the team can focus on what matters mostly. It's a patient and like healthcare providers. Also, Life Science Cloud, which like a new, it was started in 2023. It more optimized to handle the industry's unique and fast-paced needs. Salesforce for Life Science helps medical device and pharmaceutical companies collaborate across the entire system, get new products into market faster, turn valuable data into actionable insights, and increase patients' care. And also on the screen, you can see that like Salesforce by a wide margin higher than all other competitors who are presented in CRM market. So as I promised, we would talk a lot about key terms of Salesforce Sales Cloud. And probably the very first is a user. You know that each user story starts with the phrase, user is as a user, I want to, and I want to say that by understanding the users of Salesforce Sales Cloud in depth, like a business analyst can help tailor the platform with the needs and improve user let's say, adoption and ensure that it becomes an effective tool for driving sales and customer relationship management within their organization. So there are, I would say, I would like to, okay, let's collaborate a little bit. What do you think? Who are the users in Salesforce? Guys, I'm sorry, I'm using two screens because I want to see a little bit you. Okay. So yeah, any
Sales
ideas? Sorry?
Sales teams,
Yeah, correct. Sales teams,
market team probably as well.
marketing team, yeah, a little bit less, but yeah, as well. Marketing team are more involved in the sales cloud, within the sales cloud. Marketing team more involved to see the reports and results, or probably provide a guideline. And it's correct, absolutely. But sales team,
I would say
pharmaceutical, yeah.
yeah, I would say anybody that will need to input some information in the system to be used by the sales, and that will depend on the project you are in. Like, for example, I don't know if this question is typical to the healthcare industry. Then in this case, it can be even insurance, I guess, or any medical suppliers, or that can be that can use the system. Patients, they may use the system as well to see their records. Like what we have here in the NHS. So it's not directly to the system, but you are given a view to your records to see your history, what treatment you received, what your appointments, and such information.
Thank you so much for this answer. It was really interesting. And you like covered a little bit more. You covered users and contacts. So
Yeah.
patients, it more would be contacts. We would talk about it within the next slide, if you don't mind. But regarding the insurance companies, regarding the pharmaceutical representatives, regarding the pharmacists, doctors, they all could be users, but also they could be contacts as well. I mean, the healthcare representatives, like, the doctors, the nurses, it could be mostly contacts for us. Usually when we're talking about users, it's people who are using Salesforce itself for some business purposes. Even in the healthcare, for example, to like administration in a hospital, they can use a healthcare, like a Salesforce, to maintain a list of their patients as well, to store the history of the patients. That's correct. But from the other point of view, for example, if from medical representative point of view, the same administrator, he could be a contact, but it would be different CRM systems. But yeah, that's correct. Mostly the user is a person who is using the Salesforce to simplify and automate their work. And when we're talking about healthcare domain, it's usually representatives it's usually someone who is working in a hospital and have to maintain all database, or insurance companies. That's absolutely correct. And it's when we're talking about in the Salesforce, when we create, because it's more about how to work with the documents here and create user stories. When we're talking about users, we have to all the time remember there are two types of users: the one who is using the system, and also the one who can, like with administrator profile, who can create something new in system. So when you going to work with a Salesforce project, every time, sometimes it could be same person. That's why it's really important, like check every time what permissions would person get in different let's say circumstances. But yeah, let's probably not go so quick. So yeah, when we're talking about users, I would like, first of all, to highlight, for sure, we want to know we have to register the user in the system. So to give user opportunity to use the system. And in this case, we want to know his name, last name. You see this red marked places. So it means it's a required information. In the Salesforce, we will talk a lot about required information. So if it's required, you cannot leave it blank. So without this information, you cannot move, you cannot activate the user, and it's really important. So when we will going to work with the Salesforce and someone will ask, we need a new users, or we want to create a user list or something, these fields, this information absolutely definitely have to be gathered. I would say that last name for sure, name and last name, we have it. Alias, it could be generated by system. It's usually like some letters of your name and last name. Email and username, they could be same. It's really because for username is supposed to look like a email, and usually actually people using its email because it's unique and it's have same format, but also it could be different. And then it's really important what I wanted to more focus, it's roles, licenses, and profiles. Let's start with the licenses. So usually Salesforce licenses are you're paying for each license for each user. That's why they are kind of expensive. That's why people don't want to maintain outdated licenses if people are like leaving company or changing the role or for example not using Salesforce. Usually they are updating this list. They're checking when last time someone was checked in, and they could remove a license even if employee is still working in a company but not using Salesforce because they're paying for it on a regular basis. But then when we're talking about users in Salesforce, we have to definitely understand their roles. So what does it mean, role in the Salesforce? Role, it's about hierarchy. So why it's important? A Salesforce really cares about privacy and data. So for example, if with your role, you don't have any subordinate, and in hierarchy, you are like on a lower level, you would see only your current information you available to see, like, for example, only your business, part of business. But if your role in a hierarchy a little bit higher, so you would be able to see not only your records and your contacts. We will talk about contacts within the next slide, sorry for that. So, but also you would see everything what is related to the people who are in your hierarchy. So you kind of automatically have accesses to everything. That's why it's like to all records of your subordinates. Also within the role, sometimes they are saying that, okay, but also we okay that if you would see, for example, not only your records, but also records of colleagues on the same level. Like, for example, if you're working in a hospital, you are administrator, you are creating a new, you are like, for example, input new patients, right? But like next day, it's someone else would work on the same place, and these people have to have access to these records. So for sure, like all administrators within one clinic, within one hospital would have same access, and they would see each other records. But they won't see like records of administrators in another hospital. So all this is managing by roles. And if you set up in a Salesforce roles correctly, in hierarchy correctly, so you kind of measure who would see what. Also, we are going to profiles, and also, for example, you can see these profiles, right? So profiles, it's a little bit close to role, but it's a different, and it's important to understand the difference. Here in a profile, it more set what user can do. For example, if they can set up a new patients, or they can only check box that, for example, some patients were vaccinated but cannot, for example, change the status of patient. Or, for example, within the profile, you can send an emails to patients because your profile is a marketer, for example, but you cannot, I don't know, do something else. So also, profiles usually setting up with this set of permissions, and permissions could be okay. About permissions, probably I would talk about more within the next slide because it would be more understandable. So what I wanted to highlight here, that like when we create a user, it's really important to understand who is this user and what this user is supposed to do. And within the best practices, Salesforce suggests to give less, like if, for example, you're saying this user is supposed only, for example, I don't know, to register new patients, nothing else. So give them permissions and roles and everything only to register new patients. Even if you trust this person, it would be better because then, like, for example, the hospital will grow or role would grow. And in this case, you would keep the information safe and in the right place. Do you have any questions regarding the users? You are so silent.
No, everything is clear so far.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. So next part, I would like to talk about also a really important part of Salesforce, probably heart of Salesforce. It's apps, objects, fields, and records. I know that I'm trying to say right now the information that usually people take in within the months. Sometimes usually it's like 2-3 months, but I'm trying to say that the core key things just to give a little bit more understanding. So first of all, when we're talking about here, like how it work within the Salesforce. So the biggest, let's say, it's an app. It's a set of objects, fields, and other functionality that support business process. So when we're talking about app, usually it's like a sales app, I don't know, service app, or something else. It's something what is working as a one system, let's say, which is providing particular functionality. But to do that, inside we have objects. Objects, let's say it's kind of database tables that store particular kind of information. So if, for example, you would look at the pictures. So this is an app which you can see in each, I don't know, I cannot show you, on each tab. And then the objects would be like, here is the properties, brokers, contacts, or for example, here would be accounts, files, and so forth. So when we talk like the most like popular objects, for example, it's accounts and contacts. Like, for example, accounts is could be hospitals, because it's usually some kind of company or organization. We can have accounts like hospitals, and contacts, object contacts would store the all people who are working in this hospital. So, or for example, we can have an account, a GP practice, it's a doctor practice, and contacts could be all patients of this doctor. And we have a relation, so kind of doctor, and he holds all his patients, right? All the contacts under. But in terms of Salesforce, it would be two objects which are kind of related to each other. And also, it could be, for example, we have a hospital as a and then hospital have a lot of GPs, and then GPs have a lot of patients. So, and it all could be related, and you could see like any reports and everything and all relations between these objects. So, and then there are fields. Fields, it's actually places where we store particular information, like, for example, field name, field surname, field phone number. So I believe in a different point of view. So, for example, here it's a title, it's a field, property name, it's a field. So if we will see the same objects as a list view, so fields would be as a columns. And then, so I would say what important to understand here. So app, object, and field, it's kind of created by development team or by administrators, or if it's not custom objects and fields, so they are provided by Salesforce. But records, it's actually what is done by users. So we were discussing previously who are the users. So users, they are the ones who are responsible for records. They are putting in information. And there is like where all magic happens, because in the Salesforce, it's really also really nice functionality. Like, for example, sometimes some fields, some fields, so records could be predefined. Like, for example, if we're working within the one, I don't know, hospital, so the name of the hospital would be pre-populated by default. So you don't have every time to type the name of hospital. Also, for example, we have a lookup. If we know that in a hospital there are, like, for example, 100 GPs, so you can go and just start typing the name of the GP, and in a lookup field, you would get this correct name. And for example, if the GP is not working anymore and he was removed from the system, you won't be able to find him, and you will find out that you are making a mistake, most likely because this GP is not exist anymore. And you would find out and provide this information to the patient, for example, that I cannot like sign the, I don't know, to make an appointment for this GP because he's not available anymore. So it's I would say really handy. Do you have here any questions? Is it too complicated?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's go then. So when it's actually, I showed you where we store information, how it looked like. And now the third thing, it's about leads, contacts, accounts, and opportunity. You also would hear these words on the regular basis when you're talking, when you're working with the Salesforce. And also let's talk a little bit about it. So first of all, in a like nice world, we get in the leads. Sometimes it's getting automatically, sometimes we can type it. Like, what could be the lead? It could be someone sent an email and someone came after, I don't know, we get the database from the, for example, the previous GP practice or whatever. We have a list of information, useful information, and we think that we can use it within our business, right? So, or these people could convert to patients, or these people could be converted to, I don't know, our clients or something else. So when we have a lead, actually, we assume that we can also contact and work with a lead, but usually we think that lead is the person who not provide us any information, any agreement, any consent that he want to be our like client in any way, right? So, and then when we like move in with the leads, so we convert in, we call it to convert lead to contact, account, and opportunity. So when we convert it, it most likely when we get some kind of consent from lead, or we get more information from lead that he's really, first of all, real, want to work with us. So, and when we convert in leads to contacts, accounts, and opportunities, it's really important to understand that lead can have a contact information, a company information, so or company information, or all together. Like, for example, lead could have like Mr. X previously was a patient in a hospital Z, right? But now this person moved to our area and, for example, send us an email asking if he could be a patient of our hospital with some reason. So, and it's a lead. And then we're contacting him and getting more information. And after that, we can convert this lead to the account, contact, and opportunity, for example. opportunity is actually not essential. Sometimes it exists, sometimes it's not, but but anyway, opportunity is the purpose why we need this lead in our database, right? Why we need this person in the Salesforce. It's not about profit every time. Sometimes it's about like opportunity to provide, I don't know, healthcare services, or the reason why person asking us, for example, he have a like chronic disease and he would like to get a GP, or he would like to get some other services. So this would be the opportunity. And we understand that this is a person, so it has to be definitely a contact. And for sure, we see that, like, for example, if we're talking about like also as a hospital, we want to have a provider of medical devices, and someone send us an email, hello, I don't know, we are company vanilla and we have all medical devices you need with a like decent prices. So also this lead would be converted to business. So company vanilla, and the person who contacted us, Mr. I don't know, someone, and the opportunity, all medical devices with the decent prices. So for hospital, it also would be like nice to check this opportunity. Do you have any questions here, team?
No, I think it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay, and probably I would ask, sometimes we can get already a list of like we use like mostly when you would work on the projects. It's not every time you would work with the lead and lead generation. Sometimes you start working with the accounts, contacts, and opportunities. So please understand, when we're saying contact, it's company or something, something like big, but sometimes it could be like a company and person in one like one person in like in hold the company. So it could be also, but usually when we're talking about account, it's a company. When we're talking about contact, it's more about person who is related to this company, because contacts cannot be by themselves. Contacts all the time related to accounts, but it could be accounts without any contacts related to them. And it's important to understand. Thank you. So let's move on. So again, I just wanted to show you a little bit how Salesforce look itself. So when we create any new opportunity, it's what fields, also the asterisks. Please make sure that all fields with the asterisks would be filled. And or usually it's a drop downs, so you can like stages, you can just pick the correct stage. But it's just a little bit for your understanding. But what also I wanted to talk is about, when we're talking about opportunities, you're thinking, okay, we know who is user, we know what are the objects, and we know what are the opportunities. So what then? So probably when you would work with the Salesforce, you would see something like this. This is opportunity, it's object opportunity, right? There are some information about this opportunity, and also we have some like a place which called related. And usually here in related, we can see what is connected to it, because like, or it's a products. Like if we're talking about like patient, it would be like medical treatment, or maybe medicines which are needed. It could be contacts, but again, it could be contacts, different one. For example, relatives as well. We can add some relatives, is like who could be contacted in terms of any issue, but I believe it would be on contact level. So what I wanted to say is that then we have to start do any activities, because consumers expect us to provide us some service. And in terms of activities, they could be different. Like there is tasks, events, calls, emails, right? So, but again, when we're talking about here is the calls and emails, I remember it was mentioned the marketing team. I would say mostly in terms of this structure, marketing team making a draft and providing to the sales team or the service team who is actually contacting, working with these activities. And again, they are thinking about events, but to assign leads or accounts to events, it's also like less marketing team, mostly it's like a sales team. or whatever it's called, or administrator teams work. I would say here probably that like tasks, events, calls, emails, like what is it tasks? Task is what is supposed to be done. It could be list of treatments. It could be list of analysis would have to be done, like for example, and you don't want to forget, like for example, you took a blood test of the patient and you understand that you have to check this blood test, like for example, every half a year. So you put a task that every half a year you want to get the results of blood test of particular patient, and then you can create events because actually the patient have to come to the hospital or clinic, right, and provide his blood. And also you want to remind the patient to come in, because also like a person, especially elderly person, but any person in modern life, they can forget about it completely. So you can set up a series of emails or calls or SMS, which would be sent to the patient, like, for example, 3 days in advance, like, hey, Mr. X, please don't forget, like, Wednesday, 5 p.m., you have to be in the hospital for your blood check. And also then, for example, you don't want to spend your time if like blood check was successful. You can also with email or call notify person, say, hey, like your blood test is successful, see you in half a year, right? Or for example, it's something more needed. And in this case, you can also notify person like, hey, we get your blood test, so please come in for the next visit and to see your doctor. That called data process flow. Here is actually mostly all work what is supposed to be done by business analysis and what you as a like QAs and project manager are supposed to manage, because each company, each particular situations are different, and they every time want to do something special, something related only to their patients, only to their particular disease, or only to particular conditions. So that's why here we would start talking about also validation rules. So for example, we would say if person have this, we want this. If person like, I don't know, if person have additional three, I don't know, 3 additional like circumstances or something, we want another flow and another. Also, for example, it could be more complicated flows. Like, for example, it could be a patient and it could be a caregiver. Like, for example, if patient is a kid or elderly person who cannot care of himself, it could be caregiver. So, and they also provided a different data process flows for the patients and caregivers, because you cannot just change an email and write to the mom of the kid, hey, your analyses are like these or those, because the person will get that you are talking about his own analysis. So you have to say, hey, analysis of the person you are caring about is this or those, and these and those have to be done. So, and for sure, it will be different emails, different calls, and absolutely different flows. And in this case, all these can be handled within the Salesforce. So that's how it would look like. You see that like upcoming events, like you can see and track everything within Salesforce. It's pretty handy, and you can see and you can check boxes like, for example, done, not done. You can see all the history and track everything. Do we have any questions here? Let's go to the activities. Okay, hopefully no questions. It means everything is understandable. Just in case, can you hear me? Is connection good?
Yeah, Katya, connection is very good, and you explained very nice in a very, how would I say, understandable mode. Thank you very much. You're really great. And question from my side, actually, is this supposed? I'm talking about the is this like this functionality embedded into Salesforce supposed to have some notifications functionality to user, not to miss, for example, some events actually that is coming up, something like that. Notification. I'm talking about this one. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, yeah. So I would say that in terms of a marketing cloud, which could be also in like, that all Salesforce cloud could work together. They are like really much together. Like there is a notification in the app. If, for example, people have an app and yeah, they can get notifications within the app. Or if it's SMS messages, calls, emails, and also we can even track if person opened this email. For example, you send in an email and there is no response and you have no clue if something happened it with the person. Like, everything could be happened it in the modern life and you don't know how, like, for example, you call in, you are sending emails and you don't know. So for example, you can even see that this person regularly not opening emails, or you can ask a person, what way would you like to be contacted? Because some people, for example, like don't want to have any calls, don't want to have any emails, only SMS messages or only notification in app. So everything could be done within Salesforce. And also it's like sometimes people can even ask by themselves how many times they could be reminded. Like, for example, if you send in a notification or reminder and person saying, yes, I'll be there, that's it. But for example, you send in a notification and no response. You send in another notification, no response. So in this case, you can repeat it a couple times. So it also could be done within the Salesforce. It's
Would be
all
very nice.
dependent.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for. Okay, so let's probably proceed. What else could be done? I don't want to deep dive in a Salesforce forecasting, reporting, and analytics, but I wanted to highlight that it's all possible. And actually, there is a more like really for use of marketers. So because like marketers, they're working for about like forecasts, they're working with analytics, they really work with the all different innovative stuff just to understand how it works. Also, I want to say that like Salesforce is really handy because it could be installed even in your personal phone. So you don't have to hold it like laptop or tablet with you. There are there are really handy functionality even for the mobile. And for sure, as I already mentioned, it could be integrated with the Marketing Cloud, and which would provide you absolutely different and bigger opportunities with the contacting the contacts, the users. Okay, and let's a little bit maybe highlight the user story tips, because we first of all talking about that we are here to satisfy our clients and provide them really nice backlog. So when we're talking about new users, don't go and back to customer and to our client and back. So please, when we're talking about new users, don't forget to ask about username, user license, check user license, check the profile and set the permissions if needed. Check the role and alias if it's also needed. When we're talking about objects, please, all the time you have to remember there are two types of objects. There are standard objects and custom objects. And when we're talking about standard objects, most likely they already have its own fields, and fields have their field data and even permissions for different types of users set for these objects. But usually our work as a business analyst is creating a custom objects. So that is why what is like a custom objects? It's when person wants to have absolutely new object for their own purposes, or sometimes they want to customize standard objects. So as a business analyst, you also have to try to understand what is better, or like, for example, if they want just one custom field, it's better to add one custom field to the standard object and you're done. But if it's really something new and complicated, you would create a custom object. And when you create a custom object, you also can fill these custom objects with the standard fields, or it could be absolutely custom new fields, which are with the new information, which is not existing in the standard Salesforce. And again, when we're talking about custom fields, there are a lot of information needed. You have to ask the client to provide this information. And from my own experience, it's the biggest pain ever, because they never have a clear and nice databases. They usually have Excel, sometimes in the worst case scenario, some kind of Word documents, and they want to convert it to fields. But when we create any fields, that could be fields with a text, number, date, pick list, lookup, formulas. So you have to remember every time that Salesforce actually is created to simplify work of the users. So when users use in the Salesforce, it's supposed to be maximum easy and native, and they don't have to type a long text in the fields. Usually we're trying to do like a pick lists, lookups, formulas, which will provide us an answer. For example, if we're talking about sales or geolocation, you don't have to type geolocation. Salesforce can like take your geolocations where you're staying right now. So that's why when customer asking you about the custom fields, just make sure that you knew everything about this field, what's supposed to be, what expected, how this field would be used then. Because, for example, they can say, oh, we want this like field, like, for example, the sales in the future. And if you want to put that it's a number, and someone will write a text like, for example, literally write, probably it would be 1 million. So system won't be able to count it then to create a like report or something. So you have to put it, it's a number field, it's a text field. And when we like assume that it will be text field, we understand that we cannot convert it to number or count the like numbers in it. But I believe it's understandable, but we have to keep it in mind. Also, like field data types, it could be different. And also sometimes for some fields, we have to understand what these fields could be. Are they read, create, delete? So for example, what user can do with this field, like just see this field as an information. Can user like, for example, create a new record for this field? Can user delete? Because sometimes it's in the Salesforce, it's a lot. The user can create a record but cannot delete a record because this record already used somewhere. So you can deactivate this record. You can put a notification this record is not valid anymore, like user can do that, but he cannot delete it. Or for example, user can edit this record if he's not satisfied with it. So also every time we're creating something custom, try to get as much information as possible, because system because like a development team won't be able to create for you the custom object or even custom field without this information. They have to put it in a system from the very beginning, the answers from all these questions. Also, I would like to share the useful links. I think we will post them to make them available from you. So there are actually just 4 trailheads. Probably you heard about it. If not, I really suggest you to register there and get more information about Salesforce. All I was talking about is the Salesforce Sales Cloud Basics. Salesforce User Basics is about users, about the contacts and lead and opportunities. To go through all these modules, I would say take you from about 4-6 hours. I know in Salesforce you will see 2 hours, but I never see the person who is not related to Salesforce and did it with the estimated by Salesforce time. probably you will be the one. So please tell me about it. But yeah, I would say 6 hours. Also, they provided a lot of information, and you can like, if you have any questions, so you can go through it. I highly recommend you to do that if you, for example, would be assigned for the Salesforce Sales Cloud or Health Cloud or Life Science project. And guys, in the very end, I would like to ask you if you have any more questions. I would be so happy to answer.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Katerina. My question is, you said you are certified. Could you please tell a little bit about how did you get the certification on that?
Okay, I'll share with you my experience. I would say I had 3 certifications, and I'm probably going to get one more, like in Sales Cloud. But yeah, so the idea is, if you are already like experienced BA, I would say now Salesforce give an amazing opportunity, because before it wasn't available, Salesforce Business Analysis certification. I would suggest you probably to start with this one, to have overall understanding about who is the BA in the Salesforce and what supposed to be like done within the Salesforce by BA. When I was doing this certification, I found out that you, as I said, if you're already like experienced BA in anything else, like in IT, so it probably could take you up to 1 month to get ready for this certification. They already have a trailheads. If you're interested, just knock and I will share with you the links. I just don't have it right now. So I think it would take up to 1 month to go to this certification. I would say this certification is also like, I also certified SAFe business analysis, and I would say I heard it was a lot also from like Agile. So they want business analysts not to be just business analysts and new Salesforce platforms. They will also want business analysts to have a deep understanding of Agile. What is about admin certificates, which I have, and one more I'm going to get. So it's really deep understanding of Salesforce Cloud, of these who are users, what are objects, how they are related, which are the related relations between them. It's really nice and really help to understand when you're working with them, with the client. And I would say it's more even about consultancy, because if you really have a deep understanding, you could in the future go to, like, for example, to consultant already from BA role. That's it. But these certifications, for your understanding, it could take up to 3 months. It's not, and it's a huge effort, especially if you never have experience work with the Salesforce. But again, I'm ready to help. If you need, if you want, if you have desire, knock at my door.
Thank you.
And Salesforce has a lot of trailhead that are very, very useful. And you can sign without any problem. And after, if you want to do some certification about Salesforce, in expert, you can ask for a request, because you need also to do some certification exam. But it's true that it takes some time, so trailhead are very useful before to ask for any kind of certification. At least this is my opinion, and I am certified as the system administrator, and I'm trying to certify myself for sales.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you so much. Yeah. Trailheads, but I would recommend not only trailheads. Trailheads also have a lot of links to help Salesforce. I would say that help Salesforce, it's more structured and more helpful to get ready for certification. And yeah, when you're ready for certification, you are just going to pass an exam, which is online, is good, with camera and with a really tight of time. So you have to be really ready for that. Thank you, Angela, for your comment. Yeah, it was valid. Anything else?
Yeah, Katya, what's the next topic devoted to Salesforce you are going to prepare for us and to conduct as well in this such kind of really awesome way?
Tatiana, you see, there are huge interest regarding the Salesforce business analysis certification, because I believe it's the easiest one for now to obtain, but it's not really related to healthcare practices. Probably we'll discuss with you later what would be the next steps. Yeah. And yeah, that would be something else. But guys, some of you joined a little bit later. Probably I would repeat it once again. There are two really different types of maintaining like all objects and process flow and everything is the Salesforce Marketing Cloud and Salesforce Pardot. They are going a little bit separate with a different, let's say, wording and understanding of process, and Salesforce core clouds, which are Salesforce Sales Cloud and Service Cloud. And there are lots of clouds which are specified, like we already have a Salesforce Healthcare Cloud, Salesforce Life Science Cloud, which are more close to core clouds. So if you would be involved in any project related to Marketing Cloud, please find the webinar, which was this summer, about the like deep dive, quick deep dive in the Marketing Cloud, which is available on our platform. And thank you so much. Probably see you next time.
Thank you,
Excuse me.
Katrina. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid I didn't catch Marketing Cloud and something. The second one is different, like
Pardot, yes,
Pardot?
Pardot and Marketing Cloud, yeah, they are different. It's more about interaction with the customers. It's about like marketing campaigns. It's about communication with the patients and customers. Also, actually, in a healthcare practice, I would say Marketing Cloud is really highly used. I was working on a project, a healthcare project, which was on the Marketing Cloud, based on the Marketing Cloud. But again, Marketing Cloud is about communication, but you have to store information, and storing information, it's more about Sales Cloud, because Sales Cloud, it's like, as I said, it's like a database, right? Where you can store all records, sort these records. So actually, if you would like to work deep with the Marketing Cloud, in the same time, I highly suggest you to understand Sales Cloud, how it works, the basics, because anyway, it's a different naming, it's a different way of storing information, but they are really connected. And it's good to understand them both. It's why probably we call Sales and Service Clouds are like a core clouds.
And one more question from my
Sure.
side. Talking about the Community Cloud, how do you think it is one of the like base clouds, or it is also special?
I don't have any experience to work with the Community Cloud, so sorry, I don't have any answer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, team? In this case, have a nice Thursday. Enjoy your day, and probably see you in Salesforce related projects.
Thank you, Katya. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
The same to you. And
Bye
to all.
bye.
Have a nice working day. Bye
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.